Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so we got some Stephen Fulton news, and it's great to talk about Coolboy. You know, I'm a Stephen Fulton fan, and you know, as I've stated many times in many other videos, I'll state it again once more. But this year, 2024, has been, will be, and will continue to be the year of the featherweight division. And Stephen Fulton has been a guy that's been rumored to be at featherweight for a long time. And we've been all anxiously awaiting the featherweight debut of Stephen Fulton. Now, we don't got to wait no longer. It's been penciled in. It's official. It looks like Stephen Fulton will be fighting June 15th on the Gervonta Davis Frank Martin undercard, and he'll be taking on 19-0, undefeated, number 7 WBA contender, and probably one of the more skilled Dominican fighters out there in Luis Nunez. So a really good fight. I don't think people really understand how good that fight can be. There's obviously a lot of factors going into the fight, and I'll break that fight down here in a little bit. And I'll be doing a separate video on Nunez because I never really talked about Luis Nunez. I've seen him fight a couple times, but never really talked about him, so stay tuned for that. But Stephen Fulton is fighting on this card, and he did have some quotes about just the current state of his career. There's a lot of moving pieces with Stephen Fulton's career right now because, you know, he's now going to be trained fully by Bozianis, which isn't really too much of a change of the norm because even though he was never officially trained by Bozianis, I know that Boots and Stephen Fulton, they got a relationship. You know, the one time I went to Philadelphia back in 2022, they see each other in the gym all the time. So it's not anything crazy. But his trainer, his ex-trainer, Wahid Rahim, he's gonna step aside and just do the managing thing. I guess he was his trainer and his manager. So yeah, that's the new setup he's got. And yeah, this is a big fight for Stephen Fulton because a lot of people are going to be tuned in with a lot of intrigue because this is the first time any of us have seen him in a boxing ring since the Naya Inoue fight. He's made light of the fact in this interview with Ring Magazine that I'm reading right now that basically he had to kill himself to make the weight. And we hear this all the time. It happens in boxing. Guys outgrow the weight class. They stay in a certain weight class because they've achieved a certain level of status and they become champion. And there's a lot of money that comes with that. And if they move up, they're not going to get that money right away. So I get it because I know from just my guy, Angelo Leo, that was same thing happened with him when he fought Aaron Alameda. He stayed there too long, didn't have a good performance, won, but could have looked better. Same thing with Fulton with Inoue, according to him, right? So it is what it is. I think Inoue would have beat him regardless. I think Steve Fulton's a very good fighter. I just think that there were some things he never quite tightened up that he needed to for a fighter of that caliber. But listen, it's a new era now. He's at 126 and he's taking on Luis Nunez. Luis Nunez, this is a guy that just if we check under the hood and look at his record for a second, he's 19-0 with 13 knockouts. I've seen him fight a couple times on Showbox and whatnot. His last fight, which was last April, he took on Christian Olivio, a fighter that, really he was favored to beat by a lot. And a lot of people cried foul play and that Olivo was robbed. It was one of those, it was an interesting fight because Olivo threw a lot of punches. He was the volume guy. He outworked Nunez. But when Nunez landed, it was like a lot of hard flush counters, right? So it was a tough night at the office for him. He's looking to rebound from that in a major way. He's been kind of just laying in the weeds for a while, Nunez, because even I haven't talked about him a whole lot, even though I've seen him fight. And he's one of those Samson Lukowicz fighters. You guys know about those Samson Lukowicz fighters, those guys that come from the obscure countries like where boxing is not really like a powerhouse, like Dominican Republic or Uruguay or just them Latin countries, So this is a chance for him to make a big name for himself in the sport by fighting a guy in Stephen Fulton who is, I would say from featherweight on down. If you made a list of the 15 best fighters from featherweight on down, Stephen Fulton would be on it. He collected so many undefeated records, and here we go again. Even though he didn't get Inoue's O, Stephen Fulton's taking the O's of a lot of men, a lot of really good fighters, And this is a chance for him to do what he's done so many times before. So I like this fight from a stylistic standpoint because one thing about Nunez is Nunez has shown in his career to be an aggressive counterpuncher. He's not unhittable. He does leave himself, open. His defense can be a bit open at times. But guess what? Stephen Fulton, he made a big reputation for himself the last 4 or 5 fights of his fighting in the pocket. And I think to his, in the Inoue fight, it was a bit to his detriment because he was in that pocket a little bit too much in the mid-range, and then Inoue is a master at mid-range. So he got done up pretty badly out there in Japan. But again, I'm sure he's worked on things in the gym and hopefully added to his arsenal. I'm looking forward to seeing a new Stephen Fulton because now if Stephen Fulton, just to give you guys the full picture, they've already said that this fight's going to be for the vacant WBA title because Raymond Ford is going to fight Nick Ball on June 1st. It's fully expected that Raymond Ford will vacate the belt on June 1st. And this fight will be for the vacant WBA title, right? And it is worth noting that I know Stephen Fulton and Raymond Ford, I'm sure they know each other because it's right there, Philly, Camden, New Jersey. Guys from Camden and guys from that area, they go to Philly for sparring all the time. So that being said, I'm sure they could have already worked something out where they know what's going to happen. So if what Fulton is saying is true and the belt does go vacant, then that gives Fulton a chance to become a 3-time world champion, 2-division champion, and one of the champions at featherweight. And I think that would really add for a lot of intrigue at featherweight because I think, right, Fulton beats Nunez, right? Fulton then, if Fulton beats Nunez, and let's say if Angelo Leo beats Venado Lopez, then all of a sudden you got Angelo Leo versus Stephen Fulton, maybe potentially for a unification fight in a rematch. So that's an interesting storyline that I don't want anybody to overlook. Then you got, when Inoue inevitably moves up, boom, Fulton will have the belt again, and he'll get his chance to prove once more, that he could have fought better against Inoue in their fight back last year, and maybe clean up some things. Personally, I just don't think he's gonna beat Inoue because I think there's some things that he just does stylistically that play right into what Inoue likes to do. But obviously Stephen Fulton has the right to change all of our minds, and I'll like to see him try. He's a great fighter. I'm a big fan of his, and as far as this fight, like I said, Fulton got a big reputation for beating guys with their own game, like Figueroa, like Angelo Leo, like Danny Roman, sitting in the pocket and taking the guys as best weapons from them. Nunez is an aggressive counterpuncher, so I think if I had to guess on how the fight would play out, I think Nunez would be more on the front foot in this fight. I think Nunez would try to close the gap on Stephen Fulton. And Stephen Fulton would go more to kind of like the guy he was when he fought Isaac Avalar, Arnold Kagai. More of a guy that mixes it up, back foot boxer, but can be the volume puncher if need be. Just picks his spots more, economically, So, good fight, man. The featherweight division continues to deliver in a major way. Pencil this one in June 15th. Tank Davis, Frank Martin undercard. Stephen Fulton versus Luis Nunez. For now, they're saying the vacant WBA title. So these are just my initial thoughts on the fight. I'll have more to say on Nunez later on. But what do you guys think? It's Stephen Fulton's first fight since the Inoue fight. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.